Booktube, the niche on YouTube where everybody talks about books, right? Wrong! More like the niche on Booktube where everybody's a jerk. Let's start over. Booktube, the niche on YouTube where everybody talks about books. Generally, it's the nicest community on YouTube, but it does have its dark side. In fact, it has its stupid side. Now, no shade on anybody, Booktube is generally amazing across the board. It's a place where people go to discuss books they love, find new book recommendations, share their experience, fall in love with new reads and authors. But it can all turn seriously violent at the drop of the littlest unfavorable opinion. Today, I'm here to expose the dark, stupid side of Booktube. Disclaimer. Now, I'm not going to be talking about creators. I'm not going to be talking about channels. I'm certainly not going to be talking about the latest drama on Booktube, because for some reason you guys can't leave each other alone. No, I'm going to be talking about the darkest side of it all. The viewers. Now, this isn't shade at my viewers, because I freaking love my community, but there are some of you that somehow creep your way into my comment section. This video is for you. It's time to take down the trolls. Here we go, I'm just gonna jump into it. First point, first objection to the comment section, and this is just a no-brainer. I really don't know why I have to say this, but I have to say this. Reading is subjective. I think the first thing that people need to think about when they enter a comment section and they wanna be mean and harsh and all of this, whatever, reading is subjective. Everything, most everything you see on Booktube is people's opinions. You can have a differing opinion, that's okay. No one is truly right or truly wrong on Booktube. Truly, it's all emotions, it's all feelings. So why are we getting upset? Why are we going in people's comment sections and going, you're a moron, you're wrong? Everyone's taste is their own. My taste isn't your taste isn't my taste. There's plenty of people on the online book community that I share tastes with. That doesn't mean we agree on everything. It's okay to have disagreement. It's not okay to be a disrespectful douchebag in the comments. Maybe we should think about the things we say before we say them. Didn't your mother tell you that if you don't have anything nice to say, you just shouldn't say anything at all? Everyone has different tastes. Everyone has a unique balance to their book tastes. And if you don't like it, you don't have to like it. There's no one forcing you to like it. There's also nothing compelling you to be a jerk in the comments except your own black heart. Everyone can enjoy whatever they like. It's all subjective. How many times do I have to say that? That leads me into something that I find very interesting and just completely unnecessary in the Booktube comments. People going into comment sections and telling creators and others what they can and cannot consume. Oh my gosh. Stop telling people that they can or cannot read something. That's none of your business. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to go into somebody's comment section and say, you shouldn't read this author. You can't read this book. Yes, of course I can read whatever I want. Go away. It's all a matter of free will, not your feelings. I don't make videos to coddle your feelings. I don't read books to coddle your feelings. I don't say things about books to coddle your feelings. I want to read this book, so it shouldn't matter. I don't understand. Just because you disagree doesn't make you right. And just because I disagree with you doesn't make me right. If you're gonna be this way, you cannot tell people what they can and cannot read. It's not up to you. You can't police people. You can't police their feelings. You can't police their thoughts. So just shut up, please, and leave us all in peace, because you're ruining this amazing community with your bile. Now, there's some of you that are probably like, well, the reason people say they shouldn't consume this author or read this book is because sometimes the author is a really big piece of crap. And that leads me to my next point. People just can't seem to disconnect the artist from the art. Now, before I get into this, I understand there are some authors that are just downright awful. I understand. I really, really do. I know a guy like Neil Gaiman. Whatever befalls that man, he deserves it. Other authors, like the guy that wrote 120 Days in Sodom. That guy sounded like a psychopath. Sometimes it's justified to condemn the art based on the artist because the artist inserts their feelings and their worldview and everything into their art. I understand it. But then there are some artists where it's completely unjustified. I think a big example of this for me is George R.R. Martin, who wrote A Game of Thrones. He is labeled a bigot, he's labeled a sexist, he's labeled this, that, and Lord knows what else. Are there aspects of his books that come across as a little bit vile? Of course. Incest, over-sexualization of a young teenage girl. Yes, that got so brutally annoying. But then if you continue reading past that first book, you realize he's giving all of these victims insanely good character arcs where they're taking their life back, they're taking their dignity back. But then when you look at interviews, you read interviews with George and you watch interviews with George, you realize he doesn't believe any of those things. He's not a sexist. He's not a bigot. He just wrote really awful characters. That's the whole point of A Game of Thrones. And maybe that's not the greatest example. Of course, you can read in whatever you want to read into literature. That's kind of the beauty, right? You determine how you feel about a book. There's just sometimes when you hear one thing about an author and then you see something completely different, and then when you read their work, you realize, are people just dumb? Did they miss the point? I get it. Sometimes I miss the point of books. It's just a never-ending vicious cycle when we equate the characteristics of a fictional character with its creator as if the creator was trying to say something all along, when most of the time that's not even the case. At the end of the day, not everything has an ulterior motive or a hidden agenda within a book. Sometimes the characters are just that, characters. They're fictional, they're not real, and they don't have to always reflect the author. And a lot of the times, I feel not being able to separate these two from each other just shows how some people just try to read something into everything. But I know what some people are gonna do. They're gonna take me out of context, and that's my next point. Taking me out of context! Don't take what people are saying out of context. That's where a lot of this drama comes from. I know the trolls that I'm targeting in this video are gonna come after me because they're only listening to about 40% of what's coming out of my mouth. I know people don't listen to me sometimes. This is just one example of many. I created a video not long ago. Greatest books I've ever read in my entire life. That's a top 10 list of my favorite books that I've ever read. I say, not only in the pinned comment at the beginning of the comment section, and I also say this at the tail end of the video when I'm discussing my favorite book of all time, The Stand by Stephen King. That often gets compared to Robert McCammon's Swan Song. And I have said this over and over and over again. I've read both. I like The Stand better than Swan Song. But there are still people that come into the comment section and go, oh, if you like The Stand, you should read Robert McCammon's Swan Song. What? Did you not pay attention? You guys have the attention spans of freaking small mammals. You take me out of context. You don't even listen to what I say. Are you listening to me, YouTube? You're not paying attention. That's where you get angry. That's where you get so riled up in the comment section because you don't pay attention. It's your problem, not mine. And I'm not trying to condescend to you. I'm not trying to patronize you. I'm just fed up with people not paying attention. And another thing, I know that there's some people out there in the book community that think people getting sponsored by brands and companies and whatnot on their videos is shameless. Well, guess what? You're about to get a little bit more heated because I need to talk to you about today's sponsor. Hungryroot. Hungryroot is a grocery delivery service that provides healthy food, recipes, and even meal planning. They're like a personal shopper and a nutritionist all wrapped up in one. They take care of absolutely everything so you don't have to. Would you like to see what I've got? It's simple. All you have to do is tell Hungryroot your dietary preferences, and they get everything put together. They'll even fill up your cart with personalized recommendations. And the truly mind-blowing part about all of this is that almost every single meal in this box can be made in under 15 minutes. You're 100% guaranteed by Hungryroot to have no junk ingredients, artificial flavors, or nasty preservatives. Top quality is guaranteed every single time. Hungryroot has honestly been a game changer for my wife and I. If you didn't know, my dear sweet wife has something that's known as an autoimmune disease, which means she has certain dietary restrictions. And with that has come the struggle of trying to find something that she can eat while also enjoy. And with Hungryroot, they made it so incredibly easy to fit every single dietary parameter and restriction to a T. And with all of this combined, it's become the healthiest possible option in any meal kit delivery service that we've ever used. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life when you click the link down below in the description, or head on over to hungryroot.com and use the code Gubeli to take advantage of this sweet, sweet deal. Thank you so much again to Hungryroot for sponsoring today's video. Let's keep offending the book community, shall we? Okay, a big thing that I get often on this channel, and this is gonna ruffle some feathers. Diversity in reading. Specifically, here's what I mean. I make a top 10, and every author on that list just so happens to be a male. I get so many people coming into my comment section and going, I'm noticing a trend with these authors. I'm noticing a trend on this list. There just doesn't seem to be any women. Like, they're really patronizing and condescending. And here's the thing. If you watch my content regularly, you know that I do read women. I don't prioritize men over women. When I sit down and think about a book that I want to read, I don't consider the author. Some of you would call that closed-minded. Some of you would call that, you don't even think about it, so you're part of the problem. That's not true. I'm sorry, that's stupid. I don't care about the gender of the author. I care about the book. I want to read a good book and I want to have a good time, and I've had that experience with both male and female authors. Last year, 2024, I had more recurring female authors on my top read authors of the year than I did male. And then this year, I've read 7 books that I deem are 5-star reads. 2 of those are women. 2 of them. You're probably like, well, that's not enough. You need to have all 7. Here's also the thing about it, right? Right now, the literary space is dominated by female authors. More women read than men. Men, they just don't read. They have other interests. They have other hobbies. If the demographic for readers right now is mostly women, who's going to be driven more? Female authors. Great. Good for you. awesome. But I'm a man who likes reading. So I'm gonna naturally gravitate towards things that interest me. And, I'm not gonna apologize for it, but a lot of the authors that I gravitate towards are men. I don't consciously make that decision to not read women authors. Just like most women gravitate more towards female authors. It's just what we do, guys. I shouldn't be condemned for it. No one else should be condemned for not reading a certain amount of a different gender author. Like, it's ridiculous to put that pressure on somebody when they're just trying to read for fun. But here's a huge thing. I'm also a male vlogger in the Booktube space. I can probably count on one hand how many male vloggers there actually are in the Booktube space. I am in a predominantly female side of Booktube, and I read avidly, which is already weird for my gender, okay? But I can't tell you how many comments that I've gotten from men who write to me and they go, man, before I found your channel, I hated reading, or I hadn't read in years, or I just didn't like it. But you kind of gave me this spark, the interest to pick up a book, and they give me books, right? They're like, oh, I read this book that you recommended. I read this book that you recommended. I read that book that you recommended. And now I can't stop reading. I can't thank you enough. I get some of the most heartfelt, emotional, almost like life-changing comments where men are like, man, you got me into this and I can't thank you enough. And here's the thing, I didn't set out on this YouTube channel to inspire men to read more. That's just a natural consequence of my content. And guess what? Now that's my goal. If I can help one guy get into this awesome hobby, he just so happens to pick up a dude author, who cares? There's plenty of female authors that I'm gonna recommend. This is a dead horse. I gotta move on to the next topic. Toxic fandoms. Earlier in the video, I said Booktube is generally the nicest community you're gonna find on the internet. That's for the most part true. Sometimes a toxic fandom makes it impossible to get into an author or a series. They almost make it not worth it sometimes. Especially if you read a book and you just don't like it. For instance, I read the first Mistborn book by Brandon Sanderson, didn't like it, told the internet how I felt, and got roasted over the coals for no reason. I had people saying that they couldn't trust my book taste. I had other people saying that they wouldn't take any recommendation from me seriously because I didn't like that book. I had people that were just so elitist about their view of Brandon Sanderson, they couldn't take any negativity. But here's the funny part. They didn't write the book. You are not Brandon Sanderson. I really don't understand why you got so upset over nothing. Same thing happened when I read The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Guys, I hated that book. And when I said that, people were like, "Bro, you just didn't understand it. You're stupid. You have low IQ. You have no brain cells. You can't appreciate the greatness of Mr. McCarthy." And maybe I can't appreciate the greatness. You know what I can appreciate? Quotation marks. The man doesn't use any quotation marks. His books are hard to read, not understand, hard to read, because there's nothing to help make it flow. Personally, I didn't connect with this freaking story of The Road. It was supposed to be grand and epic, and maybe it was for a lot of you. It wasn't for me, so get off my case. I don't have to like The Road to be a reader. No, you guys make it so impossible to even try. Like, I want to read Blood Meridian, but the Cormac McCarthy people piss me off so much that I don't even want to. I don't even have any desire to read anything else that man's ever written, because you guys are so freaking mean. I get being passionate, but geez, sometimes you guys cross a line. You guys are just jerks. We can disagree, but then disagreement crosses the line over into disrespect. And that's when it's just like, you know what? Go away. Get out of my comment section. You're just being disrespectful. You're just whittling away any small desire that I had to read that book or that author. Toxic fandoms ruin chances for a lot of us because you guys are just too much. One of the biggest things that I've had to deal with in my comment section is genre elitism. Where to begin? In my humble opinion, sorry, I had to change the battery. In my humble opinion, no genre is greater than another. People are gonna say that this genre is superior to other genres, and people are gonna crap on this genre because they only read this genre. Romance gets dumped on for no reason. It is a legitimate literary genre. The first stories people started writing for entertainment thousands of years ago, guess what? It probably was a love story. Like, it's been a thing for so long, and I understand that the influence of book talk, where there's only like 4 books ever talked about, when there's an entire genre out there to be discovered, there's nothing wrong with romance. In fact, some of the best books I've ever read have been romance. You know, to go along with that, speculative fiction gets dumped on all the time. Fantasy and science fiction they definitely have literary merit, and I just don't understand why people dump all over them as if only literary fiction and historical fiction and classics are worth reading. But it's the classics only folks that I'm addressing. They're the ones that come to me in my comment section and say, your resume would look better if you read more classics. Go to my top 10 books of last year. 6 out of the 10 books are classics. No genre is better than another, and I'm so tired of people coming into the comments and saying, oh, you don't really read books because you read this kind of book. Oh, you don't really read books because you read that kind of author. Shut up. Who cares? It's the craziest thing ever to judge and hate and dislike somebody's content or taste just because it doesn't align with yours. Genre elitism is pathetic. You're trying to come across as very open-minded, like, I read very sophisticated, intellectual classic works. That also makes you incredibly narrow-minded because you only want to read that. But guess what? At the end of the day, that's your subjective taste. I'm not condemning your taste. I'm condemning your attitude. Your attitude towards everything else so degrading that some people that want to get into it don't, because you guys are buttholes. Honestly, I could go into so much more. I've complained about the complainers long enough. I got that off my chest. That feels good. It's almost therapeutic. That is the dumb side of Booktube, the stupid side of Booktube, where people don't let people read what they want, where people don't allow people to enjoy what they want to enjoy, where people don't give anybody any peace because, well, people are jerks. If this is your first video of mine, well, don't worry. Nothing else on the channel is quite like this. But I hope you stick around. Go back and check out some of the other fun videos. Don't worry, I got more videos coming out. Yeah, they're gonna be fun too. Thank you for being here, and thank you to today's sponsor, Hungerroot. Click the link down below in the description to get 40% off your first box and free fun item in every box for life. Go to the website, use the code Gubeli. For those of you who aren't jerks, I love you, and I will see you in the next one. I just don't understand it. I'm never gonna condemn anybody because of their book taste. I'm never gonna condemn anybody because they don't read what I read. Who cares?